Say hi, Carson.
Hi.
I'd like to meet everybody to meet Winston. He is he's just over 2 days old. All right. I just wanted to say hi to everybody, and then I will teach you a lesson right here. All right, I'm back. I hope you guys liked meeting Winston. He's been fun so far. All right, so this is video number 9, I believe, for this unit. And today we are going to jump to the other forms of imperfect competition. And today we are going to start with something called monopolistic competition. Now this seems to be a little bit of an oxymoron. What's that, buddy?
Nothing.
Go ahead.
No.
Do you know what an oxymoron is?
No.
No, an oxymoron is things that don't seem to go together.
Okay.
All right? Like jumbo shrimp. What's jumbo mean?
I don't know.
It means big. What's shrimp mean?
Chicken?
All right. Well, monopolistic competition is an oxymoron because when we think of monopoly, there is no competition. And when there's competition, we think of everybody having a lot of different options.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about how monopolistic competition works.
Great.
So first off, we talk about the characteristics of monopolistic competition.
Okay.
First characteristic. There is a large number of sellers. Yeah. All right. Couple things that we want to be sure of is that they have a small market share. What do I mean by a large number of sellers? There's no collusion, and I don't know if you guys have done what collusion is yet, but this is where two sides work together to prevent something from happening. This is what Colin Kaepernick sued the NFL over, is that they colluded to prevent him from getting on a team. And finally, there is no interdependence. Thanks, Cars. And what that means is they don't rely on each other for anything. So they still make their own decisions, but they don't rely on each other for anything else. All right. Second characteristic. Thank you, buddy.
Yes.
They make a differentiated product. All right. We're going to put a little asterisk next to that, and we're going to come back to what a differentiated product is here in a minute, because I just want to get through the basic characteristics. Then you have easy entry and exit into the market, unlike a monopoly where there are the barriers to entry, but more like pure competition where you can in and out very easily. And 4, we talk about advertising. This is also known as non-price competition. This means who can make you think that their product is the best. I mean, look at car companies. Car companies are a perfect example of this, where we talk about advertising and who has the best non-price competition, who has the most awards, who has the coolest commercials and everything else. All right? So that's what the main characteristics of a monopolistic competition situation is. Oh, thanks, buddy. All right, and you lift that back up, though. All right.
We actually need to get showed on.
All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is go back to this asterisk. What makes something a differentiated product? So for differentiated product, we start with A, your product attributes. All right. These are the physical differences between the items. All right. B, the service that is provided, how knowledgeable or the reputation of the company. Another makes a differential product is simply location, the accessibility to it. All right, your brand name. All right, we can include packaging in this, which one looks the coolest. And finally, when it comes to a differentiated product, there is some control, thanks buddy, over price. Okay, so what would be an example of something that falls under monopolistic competition? Well, we can talk about the fast food industry. All right, McDonald's has their signature sandwich, the Big Mac. All right, how many of you guys can name everything that goes on a Big Mac? It was an advertising in the back in the late 80s, early 90s. I still have it memorized. It's 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, all on a sesame seed bun. All right, they are the only one, meaning they have a monopoly, all right, on the Big Mac. But there's competition, because what does Burger King have? They have the Whopper. All right. Now, this is their signature sandwich, and everything has every fast food place has a signature food. You can talk about Whitney's being the Baconator, White Castle is the Slider. You can name any other fast food restaurant. There's something that is special about them. Another example will be car companies. All right, with Ford, you have the Mustang. You have a Chevy, you have the Camaro. And with the with Dodge or Chrysler, you had the Viper, right?
I'm putting that.
Those are all fast cars, but they're competition with each other. All right, they are all different. There's only one company that can make a Mustang. There's only one company that can make a Camaro. There's only one company that makes a Viper, but they are in direct competition with each other. And so we can go back and look at these. What are the product attributes? I gave you the ingredients here. What are the ingredients on the Whopper? What kind of engine does each one of these have? Service. Who has the best reputation? Does McDonald's? Does Burger King? Does Ford, Chrysler, or Chevy? All right. Location. Sometimes that's simply which one's closer to you. The brand name. All those brand names. And they do have control over the price. All right. I mean, McDonald's does the 2 for $2 Big Macs or 2 for $4 Big Macs, and stuff like that. So that's what makes it a monopolistic competition situation. All right, I'm going to pause it just 1 second. Okay. All right. Well, I paused that for a second. I'm back. So let's just go ahead and graph this bad boy out like what we do with everything else. And here's the best thing about this. You've seen this graph before, all right? And it does the exact same thing as what a monopoly graph would look like, all right? You have your MR curve, you have your demand curve, you have your MC curve, and you get your price quantity combination by where MR equals MC. But go up to the demand curve, and that will be your price quantity combination. And I will only draw the profitable one, but as long as your ATC curve is below the price, at where that is, that area there is the profit. Right. And then, of course, as always, if the ATC curve is above, you would then have a loss. All right. So when it comes to drawing these graphs, you should have no problem drawing out monopoly or monopolistic competition graph because they look exactly the same. All right. I will say this. It is possible for monopolistic competition to have a side-by-side graph, and then you would draw the price quantity combination where MR equals MC, because that's the rule that we follow. All right, but in the history of me teaching AP microeconomics, AP has never ever asked for a side-by-side with monopolistic competition. So just make sure you know this graph. Okay, so we are going to just do a quick thing of notes now after that graph, and you will understand how this works here. Now, with this, we talk about long run and short run. Right? In the long run, there is only normal profit. All right? They will, in the long run, they will enter if there's profit, and of course they will leave if there is loss. All right? But this is short run. In the long run, ideally, you always break even. All right? So, in a monopolistic competition, all right, firms will enter as long as your demand and your ATC curves meet. Not equal, but meet. All right? One of the things that will cause firms to, this is to enter, but firms to exit, all right, is if one of there is the demand determinants, and just to remind you guys, it's spite, all right, if the curve shifts to the right, which it can in this model, all right, firms will leave because it will show losses. All right, to go along with this, I want you to read pages 284 and 285 as examples so you can see how this fits into everything else. So now, one more thing that I love to talk about here with this is something to figure out, how do we know if a industry is monopolistic competition, or in the next day's message will be an oligopoly. All right, so in order to do this, we have to do some more math. And the first thing that we do is we have something called a four-firm concentration ratio. All right, what we simply look at is the output of the four largest firms in the industry. All right, and we're looking at as a percentage. All right, and based on this, if your percentage is greater than 40% for those four firm concentration ratios, you will have what is called an oligopoly. Like I said, we'll go over those in the next videos. If it is less than 40%, you have monopolistic competition. All right, if it's at both ends of the spectrum, all right, if it's if the four largest firms have 0% of the output, it's a pure competition. Or if it has 100% of the four firm concentration of the four firms, it's a monopoly, because you would only be really one company would have that. All right, but this is so inaccurate that somebody else came along and said, well, let's do something a little bit better. All right? And that thing that came along that they decided they would do a little bit better is something called the Herfindahl Index. I don't know how many Office fans we have out there, but if you have ever watched The Office, and there's the episode where Ryan asks Michael to come teach a class, and Michael decides to try to do all Robin Williams and rip pages out of the books and try to be all, I'm intelligent. One of the questions that the kids in the business class ask is, how do you deal with the Herfindahl Index in the industry? And so this has been proven to be more accurate. All right. Hey everybody! Oh, hey, we got special guests here. Do you want to say hi to everybody? All right, we're gonna pause it here. We'll say hi to Oliver since we said hi to the other two guys already. So we'll pause just for 1 second, and we'll look up here. Hey, Ollie, look up here. Oliver just woke up from his nap. All right, he's not quite awake yet. All right, hey, can I have a hug? Can I have a hug, or you not? Oh yeah, thank you. All right, I'm gonna set you down. Okay, go to Mama. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we had a brief pause there. Ollie's not happy. He's just woke up. So, anyway, getting back to the Herfindahl Index, because we'll end this up here real quick. This is a very simple formula. Right? One of the reasons why this is more accurate is because it uses every single firm in the industry in determining it. Where the 4-firm concentration ratio limits it to 4, Herfindahl has every single one. And the way it works is you take the percentage of company A, what percent of the industry they control, and you square it, plus the percent of B, and you square it, plus percentage C, on down the line until you get it all. Alright? You can get a number of 0 to 10,000. And in that 0 to 10,000 range, you have monopoly, or I'm sorry, you have pure competition here, you have monopoly here, and everything else in between. Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, where is a monopoly competition and where is oligopoly? There is no set number. All right. That Ollie, hey buddy, it's okay. It's okay. All right. So there is no set number that meets these. Just know that wherever it falls into, if the number is obviously closer to here, it's more monopolistic competition and pure competition. And if it's bigger, it's more of an oligopoly and a pure monopoly. All right. So for today, you're going to get an assignment that's activity 40. All right. It's a very simple monopolistic competition front and back sheet. All right. But then I also need you to do some questions out of the book, page 301, number 7, 302, number 1, and 303, number 3. All right, these all tie in with monopoly competition and the Herfindahl Index and concentration ratio, which will be good. All right, and as we always conclude the video with the cover song of the day, today I'm giving you guys the song Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon by Urge Overkill. It's from one of my favorite movies of all time, Pulp Fiction, and I encourage you to listen to it. Neil Diamond, the great Neil Diamond, will always be there, and hope you enjoy it. I'm glad you met everybody. I'm glad to see this video brought a little bit more spice in here with everybody showing things and saying things. So we'll talk soon. Email me with any questions, and next time it'll be the penultimate video. Enjoy